She-Hulk episode 6 from beginning to end is proof that most of Hollywood writers are in a state of arrested development, which may mirror the current state of the country as a whole. Much like my sister's life choices, this show is a failure to launch. Each episode now has the obligatory male character that is trash. What is meant to be funny feels more like humor from the female version of Arthur Fleck's joke book. And men don't know how to communicate, and they're abusive. As my lead designer put it, I've seen children's cartoon shows do 11-minute segments that have more character development and complex writing. Once again, arrested development. If I was a zonked out of my mind angry woman in her mid-30s who frequents the Reddit page Female Dating Strategies, I'd see this show as an absolute triumph. Jen Walters has no ass. How does this poor girl sit in a chair without sliding off at the speed of light? It really brings into question why did they even do a twerking episode? But then again, when you think about it, it's no wonder they did the 3D version of the actress, because she had no ass to twerk with. Tragic.
Yes, it's a self-contained wedding episode, and if you think this is happening at an inconvenient time in the season, you're right, because that's how weddings always are. But I'm gonna look great.
Wrong! I don't give a shit.
Tell me there's a single middle-aged woman on the writing team without telling me. Mr. Immortal is this week's attempt at male-bashing humor by having a character who self-deletes himself to escape relationships because he isn't emotionally available and he can't stand confrontation. Or as women today say, he's emotionally uneducated to communicate or work out his differences in a relationship. When you look at American divorce statistics, I believe it's at 56% that you'll get divorced. 80% of those divorces are initiated by women in America. But go off, She-Hulk writers. It's men that are the problem because they can't stay in a relationship to work it out. The characters in the law firm obviously rip into this dude for his shortcoming as a male, because that's always funny. Emasculation. Am I right, guys?
That lawyers were supposed to not be judgmental.
No, they just have to represent you.
Obviously,
I'm stepping out.
ending
I'm
a
full on
relationship
judgment. That is so messed up.
hard.
Like,
So is
any sort of
grieving the
personal
death of a
growth, right?
spouse.
No, I'm not sure who I should worry about.
The government
because he does it every single time.
Kill me, please. I want to die.
I would jump out the window too to escape this episode if I could. Even the wedding wasn't safe from scrutiny either. I guess the modern age where the nuclear family is treated as a disease in Western cultures, the beauty of such a union is almost as abhorrent as being a stay-at-home mom, God forbid. But then I remember the show is unapologetically feminist in nature, and if you take previous episodes into account, then this episode makes sense why it has such a distaste for a wedding. Whoever wrote this clearly doesn't like weddings at all. The bridesmaids are portrayed as brain dead and vapid. The groomsmen are like giant kids. And of course, Jennifer Walters is the smartest person in the room. This is how a single feminist in her 30s would envision herself in a real wedding situation. For God's sakes, the bride is marrying her dog, which I honestly didn't see coming, so kudos to you, She-Hulk writers. It's very rare this show does anything that's unexpected by me. Oh, by the way, the dog thing led me down a rabbit hole I deeply regret. It would have made more sense if the bride was marrying herself, but that would be taking shots at the feminist movement in and of itself and self-love. So they took a stab at women that want to get married but they can't find Mr. Right, so they go through with weird wedding rituals such as these. Or maybe it's not even that deep philosophically and they just saw like an old article from 2019 where it's like, woman marries her dog! And they were like, you know what would be funny? The bride was not only stupid, selfish, and vapid, but she was marrying her dog because she's so horrible. Unlike our lead character, Jennifer Walters. Oh, you gotta check this out. There's this one woman who married herself in Brazil, right? Then she divorced herself in 90 days because she met someone else. You can't make this up. I wonder how much she spent on the wedding. Who cares? Well, anyway, let's wrap this up. Jen now has a new love interest. Yay! And she gets into another pointless fight with Titania. The whole premise of Titania being at this wedding is iffy at best. This was Titania's big revenge plot and fight. Did you know Dr. Doom helped create the villain of Titania? And this show removes any threat Titania would pose towards She-Hulk. This isn't a rivalry, it's sheer stupidity that hides behind the premise of, it's a comedy, bro.
We got a wedding fight!
Most of you watching are gonna go, the f is that? That's what you deserve. This is who I am.
Well, maybe a comedy should make me laugh, goddammit. So far, She-Hulk is good for maybe one laugh per episode or one laugh every 2 episodes. You have to have the intellectual complexity of a 10-year-old to find any of this funny. And I know it's geared towards single 30-something females that drink boxed wine, but I'd say it fails hardcore on that account as well, because most of the people that complain about the show are women in their 30s. So it's like I've seen the show before I've seen the show. I feel like Loki running from Balder the Brave as he foretells my future to me. Maybe I'm just salty because I had to watch the episode again, like 2 or 3 times. Take Jennifer Walters' outfits throughout the whole episode. During the wedding, every dress was ugly and ill-fitting, with shoes that would make a drag queen vomit in her mouth. That's supposed to be humorous, but the joke just doesn't land. The wedding fight scenes. Just remember, while you watch them, this is what it looks like to see $25 million burn. Genuine question about the fight, okay? A right hook from a Hulk doesn't break veneer teeth, but falling face first on the hardwood floor does break veneer teeth. Well, I guess that floor must be made of adamantium or vibranium. It's the only logical explanation. Either that or the writers really aren't that good at their job.
So gross. She was 30. Ew.
Oh, okay. I just copy and pasted what a bunch of guys have actually said to me on the internet.
Oh, look! Incels have a Reddit page dedicated to the death of She-Hulk. For some ungodly reason, Twitter stans took this as the show taking shots at everyone who thinks the She-Hulk show sucks, because we're all cartoonishly evil in their eyes. But as I said earlier in the video, these people are in a constant state of arrested development. They can't relate to a franchise, movie, or intellectual property unless it's made suitable for modern times and reflects the world we now live in. And they can't connect to reality unless they can literally use the MCU or Star Wars moments basically justify whatever machination they have in their mind. YouTubers who don't like the Star Wars shows are like the evil empire. Yeah, and Disney is somehow the Rebel Legion with unlimited funds. They literally for years had their own state within a state. They paid no taxes. But the guy in his basement surrounded by figures, that's the evil emperor. And then they go on Twitter and make cringe posts like these. Then after they get ratioed, they mute their own timelines while claiming everyone who disagrees with them is a homophobe, transphobe, or whatever other phobe you can think of. This episode of She-Hulk was absolute bupkis. Somehow each episode tends to just do a whole lot of nothing. This isn't a slice of life. This is a slice of nothing. It's a show about nothing. How in the name of Christ can you do a show about nothing and not at least get some of the charm of Seinfeld? The blueprint's right there. But somehow they just can't figure it the hell out. And then again, you know what? Comedy and writing, I guess it actually requires talent. Jesus Christ. But it doesn't require talent to get hired in Hollywood anymore. You just need the right political leanings. Well, let me go put on my LGBTQ shoes and see where they take me, baby. Don't forget to subscribe to this garbage. You want to piss off the system? Following me's the way to go.